All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to today's show. Really appreciate you joining us here today. It is my pleasure to have you. All right, so we do have quite a lot of stuff left in the tank today. So that is it's gonna be quite a lot of fun, and we will be getting to it all. Now, we're about to take you to Pennsylvania, but the struggle is real for the Democrats. It's going to be it's going to be quite a fight down the road. And we'll be very interested in watching how this plays out. This all plays out. So, So the story that we have for you today is a little trip to Pennsylvania, where we find the most well-known candidate in the Democratic primary in a district carried by Hillary Clinton in 2016, pursued a job with the Trump administration during his transition into the White House. John Morgianelli was a Lehigh Valley prosecutor, made a bid for a gig in the most pitiful way imaginable by tweeting at Real Donald Trump. So here's what he says. At Real Donald Trump, as a DA for 25 years, guy in the plane harassing Ivanka should have been charged. I volunteer my services at www.johnmorgianelli.com. So he also says, Donald Trump, waiting to hear from the transition, hope to serve. And, the transition never gave him one thought. Not one little thing. So it's really quite a funny thing that they have this little dynamic of hope here. And it's really also amusing, and it's a story that I want to explore to a very high degree. The substance of the politics does not get any better from a Democratic perspective. He opposes legal abortion and has teamed up with Senator Pat Toomey to target sanctuary cities, part of a broadly hostile immigration record. He's a longtime opponent of gun control. I believe in my party's principles, 80% of the time. He told the Morning Call, a local newspaper, which, honestly, it doesn't seem like it's enough. 80% of the time is a little bit questionable already, and you have to have really strong beliefs in other parts of your party system. But you do not believe in your principles of the party 80% of the time. No. So so he even sent a tweet. This is my favorite thing. He sent a tweet volunteering to represent Ivanka Trump after a high-profile airline hassle way back when. John voted for Hillary in 2016 and would still do so today. But he's just a public servant who really respects other public servants, like our president, and he has high respect for the office of the president, loves the office of the president so much. Yeah, but his local prosecutor's long career and multiple failed bids for higher office have given strong name recognition in Pennsylvania's 7th congressional district, and Morgianelli, who has the backing of the local firefighters union, could easily emerge from the May 15th primary as the Democratic nominee for the seat, vacated by the retiring Republican Charlie Dent. That's possible even more now that the group No Labels, through its PAC United Together, is dumping more money in the race to back Morgianelli. This is the second anti-choice Democrat No Labels has backed in the primary of the cycle. I'm guessing by the sound of the group name, I've never really heard of them before, but No Labels seems to be some sort of so we got Tom Steyer. Wait, I'm sorry. I just had a little Tom Steyer orgasm there. I looked ahead in this report here, and I see Democratic megadonor Tom Steyer has jumped in. And it took Thursday, the six-figure attacks aimed squarely at Morgianelli. Woo! In 2018, there's no room in the Democratic Party for a man who denies a woman her right to choose and engages in hateful and dishonest dialogue about the immigrant communities. The president of Next Gen America, Steyer, said, Democrats deserve better than John Morgianelli. So that's damn straight. Thank you very much. The race drew national attention in March when a DCCC operative, Tim Persko, met with local Democratic leader to ask if he thought Susan Wild or Greg Edwards, two of the other candidates of the race, would be willing to drop out and run for state senate, a proposition they both rejected. Now, the primary fast approaching, there is a resistance effort to shut Morganelli out, and then that's when we get to Tom Steyer's. Bernie Sanders will be holding a rally in Allentown for Mr. Greg Edwards, which is pretty cool. And Pastor, who's leading the candidate in fundraising on Saturday, and earlier this week he sent an email blast to his supporters rallying donations for the Edwards campaign. So the pro-choice group to Emily's List is pouring big money into the race, both to crush Morganelli and also to promote Wild, who's a former city solicitor. So it's also, Emily's List backs pro-choice women. Announced last week that'll be funding at least 250,000 pieces of mail and television ads in Allentown markets and also in the Philadelphia markets ahead of the primary. Mail can cost us just as much as just $2 per piece, and the Philadelphia television market is one of the more expensive in the country, meaning a back-of-the-envelope calculation could easily put the cost of the intervention at $1 million or more. So there's a lot of big money coming in to support this guy and pretty much save our souls from the rest of them. Personally, I'm supporting Bernie Sanders' pick here, Greg Edwards, just because it's Bernie Sanders I trust him more than Emily's List. But there is something I definitely... There's definitely a problem here. I'll say this. There's definitely a problem here when it comes to these two people. So that's where the resistance to Morganelli has itself turned into a battle. Wild has a controversial record as a city solicitor, and Emily's List is drawing fire from progressive activists for support of her. Critics have surfaced a horrifying video of an Allentown police officer kicking a suspect who was on his hands and knees and then following up by dropping his knee on the back of the suspect's head, smashing his jaw, and knocking out 3 teeth. The victim sued, and Wild, the person whose Emily's List is supporting, decided to fight back. The actions of Officer Iannetta have been thoroughly reviewed by command staff and the Solicitor General and found to be appropriate under the circumstances. We look forward to the evidence in this case demonstrating that his actions were appropriate. So she's very, very not good, I'll say, at her job of being DA. So there's some problems there. Personally, I support Greg Edwards, but I mean, honestly, I can definitely live in Congress with Wild, just not Morganelli, please, not Morganelli. Anyway, we have a great story for you today about InfoWars' sad attempt to smear Bernie Sanders, and I want to get to it right now. My God, you guys, do we have a treat for you today? InfoWars, the news company, if you want to call it that, got pretty embarrassed when they had to pull down a video of them trying to confront, quote-unquote, Bernie Sanders supporters on the street, as their on-the-street segments they like to do. Really took a turn for the worse.
Hi, are you a fan of Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, I am.
What do you like about him?
That he's a socialist.
Why is socialism good?
Are you like, I don't really want to do this. What is this for?
We're asking people why they like Bernie Sanders.
For InfoWars?
Yes, we are InfoWars.
I think he has a lot of integrity. I like his value system. I like what he stands for.
Exactly what values?
Eating the rich.
Eating the rich. Well, are you aware that Bernie Sanders lives in $3 million homes?
No, I was not aware of that.
Yeah. And are you aware? I'm going to ask you something. So if they're about eating the rich, why do you think so many of the 1% support socialism?
Is that true?
It's very true.
Like who?
Well, for example, you know Venezuela, right?
Heard of it.
A majority of the country is currently eating rats, while their politicians are drinking champagne on a daily basis.
But that's not the 1%.
The 1% of Venezuela.
I'm talking about America.
Well, I'm saying, since if Bernie Sanders were president, right, and he wanted to bring the same ideas as for socialism into this country, do you think that we would benefit?
Yeah.
But I just told you Venezuela is eating rats.
but I just want people to have health care, honey. I don't want, like...
Well,
Same thing Hugo Chavez.
Oh my god.
When he was taking power in Venezuela.
You people have, like, worms in your brain, honestly.
I mean, you're the one who can't answer the question.
What question?
The question is why you support socialism. You can have healthcare without socialism.
I want people to have free health care.
Why free?
Pays for it.
Why would the government pay for it?
Because I think everyone has a right to have health care.
Oh my god, you gotta love that. They're just like eating their itch. And she'll taste like this like seductive kind of sip of her like her latte there, as you can see in the video. But the important thing is like some of the stuff she said there, the InfoWars lady, she obviously is very new at this, probably a new hire off the street from Alex Jones. Doesn't seem to be very experienced in the matters of really talking to people and getting who started those interviews is the Daily Show. They did those kind of talk to normal people on the street, people who are not that smart, also Republican politicians, because the same not smart status can apply to them as well. But in the end, it's all the key part of it is getting them to. You got to know when to just put the exact right prod on someone to say, you know what, this maybe just move them closer to this, move them closer to that, and just let the person talk. This girl was like all up in it. She's like, in Venezuela, they're like eating rats. And the Bernie Sanders supporter was not having really any of it. There was obviously a pretty strong element of kind of trolling, of kind of not really being exactly serious in that, which really kind of was what made the clip so funny and amusing in the first place. I mean, I gotta be honest, it really is kind of sad how unprepared that InfoWars chick came into this whole situation. She was like, she really tried to like push the interview subject kind of into an answer that she really didn't seem like she was going to give. I said before, the Daily Show pioneered this style of interviewing. John Oliver, how about you show him how it's done?
But Jim Manley knows that a true public servant has more important concerns.
What makes a politician successful? Getting reelected by his or her constituents.
Right. Yeah. That's how you judge success.
Okay, well, getting legislation done.
Right, it's second.
Is second, yes.
So that is second. Holy that is second?
If I could rewind this tape, I'd say getting legislation done and getting reelected by your constituents.
But seeing as we can't rewind the tape, let's just go with the answer you gave on instinct.
If you don't get reelected, you're just roadkill in the political process, and you're just another loser.
Oh, wow. Leave it on InfoWars to do it absolutely, totally, completely wrong. Good job again. John Oliver, you're doing very well. Anyway, but again, the point is behind this interview is not only was the style and the form she utilized quite awful, but the way she really... The argument she used. The one argument we saw in that clip was she used... the situation of Venezuela. Everyone knows Bernie Sanders, everyone with a brain and everyone with a clear, unobstructed political mind knows one simple thing, that Bernie Sanders doesn't have the political ideology of Hugo Chavez or anyone in Venezuela. He identified himself as a democratic socialist. It's been something that he said from the very get-go, which he has in mind countries where he says that the U.S. should follow is Norway, Denmark, places that are among the happiest countries in the world. Their citizens are happy, they live good, solid lives, etc. I'm not saying we need to follow every single thing they do, but, I mean, if they're the most happy country in the world very frequently, I mean, there is something that we should probably take a look and maybe just possibly find out what they're doing there. Because